Hmm? Yeah. So good evening, friends. It's very happy occasion to have a webinar on this topic on cognitive intelligence and how it is transforming the insurance industry. So it is our the third the leadership webinar series in collaboration with the India InsurTech Association. Okay, so we are really happy to present this webinar now. So we have with us our director, Mr. G. Srinivasan, and Mr. Vinay Kumar, the CEO and founder of Arya.ai, an InsurTech company. Dr. G. Srinivasan, our director, is well known in the insurance industry, and he has been in the industry now over 40 years. And the director has been with us for the last 2.5 years. He has taken up a lot of initiatives in partnering with various institutions and universities, both in India as well as abroad. So it's a great learning occasion for all of us. And director has been one of the well-known the eminent personality in the insurance industry. He has one of the longest, the CEO of the insurance industry. He served the general insurance industry over 35 years and 11 years as a CEO, plus he was a CEO in the overseas the companies also in Trinidad and Tobago, and as well as he has been in the board of many companies, including India Insure company in Singapore and the Insurance Institute of India, and he has been advisor to the regulator also on the various technical matters connecting to insurance. Sir, it's a pleasure for us to have you this evening, and I request you to give us a welcome address on the theme of the topic and initiate the webinar, sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Das, for the introduction. Dear friends, good afternoon to every one of you. I have great pleasure in welcoming you to this program organized by the InsurTech Association of India as well as National Insurance Academy on the subject of cognitive intelligence transforming the insurance sector. I have great pleasure in welcoming Mr. Vinay Kumar, CEO and founder of Arya.ai, an InsurTech firm. This is the second program we are organizing in collaboration with the InsurTech Association. The idea is to bring in a lot of those new developments happening in the fintech space, especially InsurTech space, which has a profound impact on the insurance industry. So we will continue to organize these kind of programs over the next coming period, months and years. So that whatever is happening in the insurance industry, in the technology space, is brought to the knowledge of all the insurance practitioners and the budding insurance practitioners. Just would like to say a few words about National Insurance Academy. Many of you may be aware of this. National Insurance Academy is a preeminent institution on the field of insurance education, learning, research, and consultancy. Apart from our role in the education space, we also been providing inputs to regulators, to the government in the field of policy making, and also have been contributing in a big way to the thought leadership of the insurance space in this country. Friends, the subject cognitive intelligence is something very, very important at this point of time. It's been making a lot of positive changes in many sectors, especially in the financial services sector. The insurance industry, as you know, has been using AI tools for at least a few years in various areas of its operations. The general insurance company, life insurance company, standalone health insurers, they've all been using in bits and pieces, the AI tools. I think it's now imperative for the insurance sector to move to the next level of using cognitive intelligence with the objective of bringing better value to all the stakeholders. And the environment for this is very, very positive at this point of time. COVID, the last 1.5 years, while it has done a lot of damage to health and the economy, one positive it has done is it has created a huge insurance awareness. People today talk of health insurance, life insurance, something very, very important. Essentially made these products something closer to being called a pull product, because insurance is always a push product. But I think we're seeing a lot of awareness. The other thing is it has also given a lot of fillip to the use of technology in the insurance space. So industry is using technology in a big way at this point of time, and they are seeing a lot of efficiency and economies of scale because of this. The second is India, as you know, is a young country. 50% of the population is below 30 years of age, and they're extremely comfortable with digital. And today they demand digital being used in all our operations. The third is, the external environment is also good. A lot of internet users, almost I see numbers of 60 crores plus, a lot of smartphone users. So this actually gives a conducive environment to the use of, digital and technology. And today, we are seeing artificial intelligence in every phase of life. I think we are getting so much used to this. It's now something common for everyone. And in the insurance space, there's a lot of data, a lot of tools for analytics, and we are seeing this fintechs and insurtechs, large numbers. I mean, I'm seeing even in a place like Pune, there are at least 100 to 150 fintechs, on various facets of the financial services sector, really revolutionizing the way insurance is being done. Insurance is inherently a very traditional sector, a conservative sector. But what we are seeing is these companies are today, bringing in a lot of those new developments, changing the very face of insurance sector to the whole country. Now, in terms of use of cognitive intelligence, there are clearly some benefits I see for the insurance industry. One is better underwriting. AI and deep learning algorithms with analytical skills can really help insurers to understand the risk better. And this is something very important for the general insurance industry, who is grappling with profitability, underwriting profitability. So understanding risk better through cognitive intelligence can really go a long way in improving the quality of underwriting. The second is product innovation. Customers today, are not comfortable with the standard products being dished out by the insurance companies. They are really looking for solutions, customized solutions which suit their requirements. So I think that is also an area where this can be of immense use. The third is better customer experience. We can make evidence-based recommendations, claim settlement, faster and hassle-free claims, which is a very important part of insurance ecosystem. I think this is also facilitated by cognitive intelligence. And then claims management, in terms of efficiency in claims management, fraud analytics, spotting the patterns, predictive analytics, identifying areas which requires deeper investigation. I think all this can really happen, the use of technology at this point of time. And finally, data mining to cross-sell and upsell to really increase the insurance penetration in our country. India has a huge potential because there's so much to be really done in terms of taking insurance to the people. I think here also technology can really help us. So these are some of the benefits I see. That's the reason why insurance companies are really, taking these new developments. Very in a big manner. They are quite upbeat about it, and we are fortunate to have Mr. Vinay Kumar, who has really, been doing a fantastic job in this field for the last few years, to tell us what is he doing and what he really looks at the scope for cognitive intelligence in the insurance sector. So I welcome you all. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for a nice the setup for the discussion, and you have given a valid points that would be debated. The use of cognitive intelligence in the insurance industry now in the next half an hour to 45 minutes, we would be discussing the role of cognitive intelligence, how it is transforming the insurance industry. Thank you very much, sir. And we have pleasure in introducing now Mr. Vinay Kumar, the CEO and the founder of Arya.ai, InsurTech company. And the company started in the year 2013. The company has been doing a lot of innovative solutions in the area of AI and cognitive intelligence and automation in the insurance business. They have developed like underwriting automation model, claims, customer service automation models, and the legal and regulatory compliance models like that. So they have a lot of innovative ideas, and Mr. Vinay Kumar, is one of the youngest, probably the CEO and the founder, and he has written at this young age itself a couple of books on the subject on AI. And Mr. Vinay Kumar has received excellent awards in his research work in various technical areas related to AI. And he is the youngest member of the AI task force set up by our Commerce and Industry Ministry of India. And he has been also listed in Forbes Asia's the 30 youngest the innovators in the area of technology. And he is a regular speaker at various forums, national and international forums, including NASCOM, Rework Extra. Mr. Vinay, I request you to address on the theme of the seminar, that's cognitive intelligence, and how is it transforming the insurance industry. Request you to share your ideas and experience of your company that are working in this area. Over to you, Mr. Vinay.
Thank you, Dr. Das, and thank you for the very long introduction as well. Good evening, everyone. As Dr. Das introduced, my name is Vinay. So let me start with what start with what Srinivasan had said, right? So this is the era of AI. I think that is given. So there is enough evidences and there is enough demand. Now it's a time for execution. So I'll start with where we were when we started our company in 2013. I'll share my screen and then I'll quickly take you through that, and then I'll give you an examples of where we are today. Because today we work with a lot of insurance businesses across the globe. So we work with insurers in India, Southeast Asia. Now we are working with insurers in Africa and US markets. So we have seen multiple processes and we have seen multiple ways of how people are looking at AI today. So I'm sharing my screen. I hope everyone can see my screen, right?
Yeah, your screen is visible.
Got it. Okay, I'll just get a full screen mode. Yeah, so briefly, I'll touch upon how and when we have started Arya.ai. We have started Arya in 2013 when we were in college. So this Arya is actually an outcome of our research. We were using deep learning and AI in our own areas of research. So we were very excited about what AI can deliver. This is way back in 2013. When we wanted to start, the problem that we are trying to solve is we actually didn't have any specific problem. We are looking at can we build AI that can learn from the data and able to optimize from the data on its own. We per se didn't fix up a problem, but we wanted to actually build the technology first. So when we started with that goal, at that time, deep learning has just started. So deep learning is, just to give you a little bit more details about what when we say deep learning mean. So deep learning is a neural network based system. So as in you will build multiple neurons and you will define some kind of learning function between the neurons such that when you give training data, the neural network system can look at the data and learn how to execute a task. So in short, you're actually teaching the system by just giving examples. You're not telling the system how to do it. You are just giving an example. For example, let's say in live cases, right? So in insurance underwriting, what is a good underwriting, bad underwriting? You could actually say, all these rules as good underwriting rules, or you can just say this is a good case, this is a bad case, good case, bad case. So you just give those many examples, right? If the system can start learning from the data, then the dependency of using AI, it's not is not in how to teach it, is in how to provide enough training data. So we thought that's a very interesting problem to solve. So we started off with a few small research team to begin with. We had about 10-12 people research team in 2014. So this research team is from ISCR, IIT, and IIITs. So we were able to hire researchers and start looking at this problem exhaustively. So we started off as a toolset provider. So what we thought is, okay, we were able to figure out what is the approach or AI that can be built. So how can we make it democratized, right? So technology should be democratized so that every user should be able to use it without intrinsic challenges on usage, or else it becomes a privilege and only few users will use it and rest of it will struggle to use it. So we started off with that problem as the first production problem. And we quickly realized that the problem is very big, as in generalizing AI for every industry and every vertical. It's actually a very big problem and it needs a lot of resources. So then we started looking at, instead of solving the problem for everybody, can we solve it for, let's say, one vertical? Make it really well enough such that in that vertical, we can become the standard in that industry. So that's when we started looking at insurance and banking. This is way back in 2015, 2016. At that point, AI was still unknown or very minimally used at the moment. So when we looked at insurance, the reason why we picked insurance as one of our bullish vertical is because of two reasons. One, industry is ready for technology. It's ripe to adopt technology at scale. Because even today, most of the insurance systems are very traditionally designed and very traditionally designed processes. In the last 3 years, many things have changed. So we thought insurance is ready for disruption because the traditional processes like traditional underwriting, claims, how people are looking at risk, how they are updating the risk models, or how well they are able to personalize the products to customers, it's pretty much standard. So a lot can happen in those areas. That's one of the reasons why we picked insurance. And second, the problems in insurance are very complex. Unlike the problems that we have seen in other industries, they're not straightforward transactions, right? So they have a lot of multiple interdependencies, which means that you may have to consider a lot of data before you can make a decision. For example, underwriting decision, right? Can I issue a policy or not? It could be a retail, commercial, life, health, or commercial kind of products. So you have to delegate and debate a lot before you can come up with a verdict. So such complex tasks require complex technologies, which is where deep learning can fit in. So that's why that's our idea and reasoning behind choosing the insurance as one of the verticals to optimize. So since then, we have been working with multiple insurers. I'll quickly take you through what are the use cases that we are looking at and what is the direction that insurance industry is looking for. We have actually talked about some of this in a very early stages as well. So we said there will be AI bots. We said there will be AI managing AI to ensure there is a better efficiency. Some of it has happened. Some of it is yet to happen. That's a usual tendency that we over predict for long term, under predict for short term. So the problem that we are trying to solve is, if you look at the insurance stack today, right, how it is being designed. So you can segment into 3 layers. So one is your front end layer, which is user applications and web applications. So it has seen a lot of digital onboarding in the last few months and few years. Primarily, whichever the process used to be a paper-driven process, now it's a digital-driven process. So there is a lot of innovation happening there, and people have already matured systems and so on. So the second layer is the workflow stack, right? So your claims management systems, policy admin systems, or underwriting systems or CRM systems. So there is already a lot of tool sets and stack definitions and so on. So the third layer where we see a huge opportunity or area where there can be a huge disruption is the decision layer stack. So decision layer stack as in, so today I have an technology stack for my applications. Likewise, you could start seeing an AI stack for my organization on which I will build my entire AI strategy or AI modules on that platform. So AI adoption is universal inside the organization. No matter whatever the department that you're looking at, they need AI. From sales, customer servicing, policy servicing, and risk modeling, you need AI. It has become such fundamental requirement in the business today. There is no an 360-degree approach, right? There is always an ad hoc approach. As in, you would see that, okay, I'll start using AI maybe for specific use case, and when I want to use AI for another use case, I'll reinvent the cycle. So within the organization, you may be reinventing the cycle multiple times because it's not coagulated, nor there is no seamless connectivity on these assets. So this is where we see a next big disruption, so which we already are seeing today. For example, you may have heard about low-code AI operating platforms, or low-code or no-code AI platforms, as in one platform where you can start using AI without any code. You can actually use it through simple interfaces. You can train your own models. You can train your own AI and then scale it from there. So this is where we operate from a proposition standpoint. So we are building an insurance AI operating system, so which can sit on the current process and make it smarter, or make it more efficient, or make it automated enough. So the end use case can be anything, but we can sit on the process and become a layer on top of your current process. And to do that, we have picked the deep learning as the key component of the platform. As in, when we say AI, right? AI can be built using any approach. There are actually multiple approaches on how you can give intelligence to AI, intelligence to machines. A very simple approach is rules, right? So I can just say, if this happens, then this is what it should do. If this happens, then this is what it should do. So that's largely an RPA kind of system where you would define a rules or guidelines such that the system will use those guidelines while looking at a task. So this you will see prominently in insurance, primarily in underwriting. So you would have some kind of rule engines today where the underwriter or actuary or the risk owners will define these rules. For example, if age is between 30 to 45 and sum assured is 10 times of salary, maybe straight through process, less than 10 times of salary, straight through process. So these are guidelines or rules that can be defined on the process. The next set of method that you can define, you can give intelligence is, instead of writing simple rules, maybe you will write a very complex rule. For example, for a pattern of function of f is equal to x comma y, this is what it should do. You would still define the rules, but in a very high dimensional function. So that's the classic machine learning approach. Whereas when you come to deep learning or fully autonomous AI systems, you need not to define those guidelines. You just give the data and the system will write those rules and understanding from the data. So this is what the true cognitive capability can be given to AI. Because when you look at any process, right, you may not able to find rules on how you can automate the process. You can choose to write millions of rules, but nobody has time to write millions of rules, right? They wanted a smarter approach. They wanted a better and effective approach. So that's what deep learning can deliver. So deep learning is a neural network based system. When I say neural network, as in, you may hear that words more repetitively in the conversation. When we say neural network, it means neurons, which has a similar function like a biological neuron. Neurons learn through interactions. Likewise, we built a mathematical function which acts similarly like a neuron. And this neurons, you will build millions and millions of neurons and connect them through in a very unique manner, such that these neurons will learn from the data. And you can make it more and more adaptive by making it systems like reinforcement learning kind of systems, where you can now connect the same neural network systems to the environment such that it can interact with the environment and adapt to the environment. So such systems you can see very prominently in use cases like autonomous cars, where an AI can run a car by looking at the environment. Usually how you train is you will give the environment access to the system. It will learn, it will make mistakes and optimize. So similar systems you can observe even in insurance industry. For example, my underwriting logics will never be static, right? Because with the ongoing risk and more risk patterns coming in, my AI should be as adaptive as the dynamism in the risk. then only I'm truly doing a very efficient underwriting. Or else, if I build my model basis on historical data and continue to use it for next 1 year, I'm just assuming that the trend is not changed, which is not the reality. So these are the systems are very good in understanding those dynamic changes in the data or in the process and adapt to it, maybe through manual interventions or without manual interventions, which means self-learning, such that it can keep on updating itself and becomes more and more optimized with more data coming in, with more interactions coming in. While we have said a lot about the deep learning, meaning it may seems like it's magic. Why people are not using it everywhere? It's actually not magic. There is a lot of efforts that goes in productionizing a deep learning system. One, not only from technical perspective, but also from user acceptance perspective. As in, when you build such very complex neural network, right? The question that comes up is, how did it work? For example, let's say we have made that AI to do underwriting and it started issuing policies. Then you want to understand why and how it is accepting those policies or rejecting those policies or doing some kind of decisioning on those policies. You need an explanation or transparency on how AI works. That is actually really complex when you start using deep learning. There are some approaches which can decode that, but it's still very approximate kind of systems. As an explainability and auditability of AI is something that is becoming very, very important nowadays. There are regulations now, there are clear guidelines on what you can use, what you cannot use, and so on. So these are the few reasons why deep learning is not adapted that aggressively, primarily in insurance industry. So that's where we operate. We as a platform like ours. So what we have done is we have a tremendous amount of experience in building platforms. So we have built a platform specific to insurers, and we used the platform and have already pre-trained a lot of AI modules. As in, so you can as an insurer, I can use this platform as a base, build my AI functionalities, or there is already pre-built functionalities on the platform like AI bots. You can just subscribe to them. So this is what we see as a next wave of AI adoption, converting an expert functions or tasks into API functions, as an underwriting as an API, claims processing as an API, fraud detection as an API. So that's the next big adoption wave that we foresee in next 2 to 5 years. Instead of building models, you will have pre-trained models where you can start using them. So today we have pre-trained models on generic functions. For example, let's say doing a KYC, reading a document, or reading a BMI from a selfie, and so on. So which are pre-trained, which can be used as plug and play. And then we have core AI modules where you can train them by giving data. For example, if I want my underwriting AI on Arya platform, so you can just give your historical training data and the system learns from it and start executing the underwriting task or claims automation task or audit and so on. So this is what we are offering to our customers because we believe the democratization of complex AI happens when it becomes easy to use. If the technology is good, but if it is very, very complex to deploy and scale, then there is a huge adoption attrition, which may take a lot of time and a lot of effort before people can start using it. Having said this, let me give you examples in terms of how we are using this, right? Let me start with very classic example, which is the underwriting example. If you pick up one of the very complex products in insurance, which is life insurance. So today there is guidelines or rules that are used to underwrite a new policy. So these rules are simple if and then rules. When I say simple, it may not be simple from human eye, as in experts design these rules in a specific manner, but these are rules eventually. From a functionality perspective, these are very simple rules, as in if this is this, then that, then this, then that. So you will have to define that guideline in a very complex manner, but these are rules. So these are the kind of systems that we have seen majorly used in life insurance business. Now the problems with the rules, right? One, your rules typically works on standard cases, because you can say that for a standard case, you can actually transform the decision function into a rules function. But as the case becomes more non-standard, for example, let's say it starts deviating from your boundaries, then that becomes a non-standard case. Then you need an underwriter to decide what is the verdict on that case. That is one of the problems. Second is these rules needs changes from time to time. So I cannot use the rules for next 20, let's say 1 year or 2 years or so. You have to keep on making the changes because there is a new pattern coming in. Then that pattern has to go back to my underwriting system, and then such that I am able to identify those kind of risks at the underwriting stage. So the updation of rules today is very rigid process, and sometimes it takes months and months before your rules gets updated. So these are the few challenges that you see of using a rules-based system, which means that either you need a massive underwriting team to look at all these cases and do underwriting. Second, when you have a massive underwriting team, your decision quality is not the same, right? Because if I have 100 underwriters, one underwriter may be very, very good, whereas other underwriter may not be that good. So which means that your risk is also not stagnant, meaning you cannot confidently say that I'll get this much amount of risk in next 1 year. You may get more, you may get less. It's a choice, or it's a factor of probability. So you need some kind of assurance that my book quality is like this, and I can predict that my book quality remains same like this. So you need a kind of decision standardization in the book. And the third thing is anyways the agents, right? Yeah, life insurance or most of the insurance products are largely driven by agents. They spend a lot of time in acquiring a customer, and if the customer is not converted as quickly as when they have acquired it, then there is a choice. There is a chances of drop-offs, and there is a chances of attrition between the customer and the agent. Or eventually, if the policy is denied, then the agent becomes really hesitated because he might have spent a lot of time in getting that customer. So these are the challenges that you could actually solve using AI and deep learning based systems. In fact, we have designed a very complex architecture, which is very modular in nature. So how it works is, for example, today you may have some kind of application systems and Q&A systems and rule engines, right? The AI engine actually picks up cases which are failed by the rule engine and then starts looking at those cases. Such that we are looking at complex cases which are beyond rules engine, which may require an underwriter or a manual intervention. So the AI can able to pick up such complex cases and start underwriting those applications. If the AI is still not confident, then that case goes for manual underwriting. So the way that how it works is we give past historical data, as in we will provide a good amount of training data from the past, like last 3 years of underwritten data, claims data, so that the system can understand what kind of claims has been observed from those transactions, and it can error correct it. And once the training is done, when we say training, it takes a humongous amount of calculations for the system to complete the training. Like imagine this, right? So you have 12 million neurons, meaning 12 million parameters, where the mathematical function has to optimize in each and every neuron, and it has to happen for every training data set. As in, if I have 100,000 training data, for each data point, all this 12 million neurons need to optimize. And this has to happen multiple times before the system can converge. So when I say converge, as in the system might have learned and now the learning is proper. So to ensure this much amount of calculations are happening in the backend, we use very different kind of compute, meaning it cannot work in simple CPUs or simple machines. You need a little bit of high compute kind of systems, which can help you to complete this training process quicker and sooner. So once we complete the training, so then it can start acting like an underwriter, meaning it has become an expert underwriter, right? Because it has seen enough examples. This is actually not weird or not odd, right? An underwriter experience is derived from number of cases he or she has underwritten. Likewise, if you look at AI, it has seen more number of policies probably than any individual underwriter in an organization, if the organization is big enough. Let's say 100,000 cases, right? Or in a mid-size large organizations, you would have anywhere between 2.5 to 10 lakh policies per year. So those many cases, AI would have looked at it and learned from it. So it can be one of your best underwriter in the organization. It can actually look at, as I said, the complex cases which are not addressed by the rules engine and able to underwrite those cases. If it is not able to underwrite those cases, it actually creates a case assessment. It says these are the reasons why I'm not able to process it, or these are the observations that I have. So it becomes like an assistant to underwriter for complex cases or for unusual cases, so that underwriter can look at the observations from the AI and then goes about it. So because of this implementation, so we expect to increase the automation by at least 20% to 80%, depending upon the training data, products, and markets and everything. And at the same time, this can perform even at the point of source, where you are acquiring your customer. You could actually envision that you can have an underwriter to all your agents, and this underwriting engine can help the agent to procure and to source the good applications and even underwrite at the point of source itself. So this is one example of how you can use complex systems like deep learning and train the systems. Once you set up and train and validate, then you can start using it to improve your underwriting speed, quality, and efficiency. Similarly is what you can also see in claims as well. For example, let's look at the most common example in the recent times, right, which is health claims. Like people have realized the importance of insurance in the last 1 year more than 10 years before that, because the pandemic has given put in a lot of financial stress on everybody, and also health stress on everybody, which means that there is higher chances that you'll get hospitalized also. I mean, not for just maybe COVID, but also other reasons as well. But when you go to hospital and if you have an insurance, you would want to have the benefit very quickly, meaning you do not want to wait, let's say 5 hours, 6 hours at the reception to get your pre-approval done and then join, right? That becomes very not a favorable experience for the insurer and also for the customers. So they expect, if I go to hospital, if I give the details, hospital should get the approval from the insurer instantly, so that my diagnosis can start quickly. So currently it may not happen because there is a lot of human dependencies in the process today. You need people to digitize the data. You need people to approve the claim. You need people to calculate the claim amount, which is what an AI can do better. And this is very complex problem. Hence you need very complex AI. A simple rules cannot solve this problem, because you cannot approve claim for fever as simple as fever also. Because fever has multiple boundary conditions. It can change. One claim can be very small, one claim can be very high, which means that typical rule engines cannot work. You need more complex AI systems. So that's what we have done. So we have, in fact, this is our first use case that we have gone live in 2017, 2018, wherein we are able to help the insurers to process claims in near real time, in less than a minute, such that you as a customer can go ahead on realizing the benefit instead of waiting for hours or even multiple days sometimes if it is a reimbursement kind of claim. Having said this is the traditional use cases that we have seen. And now we are seeing a different kind of wave in the industry because of the COVID, right? And everybody wants to scale. I guess India is probably the most digitally empowered now than ever. So everybody has mobile. So everybody has been on mobile for a very long time since the pandemic has started. So they are aware about how to order things. They are aware about how to fill a form. You could, if you could make it localized to a language, you could actually have a full end-to-end digital onboarded customers even in tier 3, tier 4 towns. So that's what is happening now. Now insurers has to solve this problem differently, right? As in, they cannot have the same process of having medicals, sending somebody for medicals, or doing some kind of calling-based tele-MER and so on. So it needs to be a bit smarter. It needs to be a bit robust, so that you can solve these problems. So this is where we see as the next big area of usage, particularly in AI, how to collect medical data smartly, how to ask questions smartly, or how can they get customer information quickly without putting the customer of too much stress. So if we solve these three problems, then insurance underwriting problem is solved. If I have good medical data, if I have authenticated the customer, and if I have the required data, I can issue a policy right away. But these are the caveats why I'm not able to issue it, assuming that you have a better underwriting engines. For example, even on the medical condition side, right? So if you say you have any kind of medical condition, now the question is, what question should I ask? As there is no current systems which can be smart enough to change the questions, you have people today to do tele-MER or video MER or even go to diagnostics per se. But if you can make the AI to ask the right questions, for example, related to medical or non-medical as well, then I can actually collect all the required data without having the customer to go through a longer or a very delayed kind of process. I can collect the information at the point of source, and then I can make a decision very quickly. For example, one of the modules that we have built specifically for this problem is medical Q&As. So what we have done is we have trained the AI to understand mortality and morbidity risks of multiple medical conditions, such that if a customer says he has any of those conditions, the system knows what question to ask from a health perspective vis-a-vis with insurability perspective. Meaning we're not just asking for a symptoms, we are saying, okay, you have this condition, which means that you have this much mortality risks, you have this much morbidity risks. We are converting those conversations and Q&As into insurance risk scores such that you can use them very quickly for pricing or underwriting and so on. So how it works is the system has access to enormous amount of questions, close to 3,000 odd. Depending upon the answers given by the customer and the risk of that customer, the next question will change. So it's like a dynamic form where I'm interacting with the customer, collecting the data smartly, and able to make it really personalized for that customer. So because of this, the system is able to create an AI medical examination report. Like this is something that you typically hear a lot in life and health, which is medical examination report. You would need that for a very complex case. Now we are doing it using AI, such that it can use alternate data, and you can have smarter interrogations and collect this data and create an AI MER report, such that underwriters or underwriting engine can have a look at it and quickly go about it. So this is something that we believe that will have a larger impact because I would want to scale in tier 4 market where there may not be medicals, or tier 3 market where there may not be enough data to be collected. So here you can collect data by taking selfies, you can collect data by taking pictures or answering questions or taking videos and so on. So this is where we believe it actually makes an inclusive scale of insurance much more scalable with a high traction rates. Having said this, the vision for us is to build, as I mentioned, an AI operating system. We want to build an insurance AI, the best insurance company by not being an insurance company. We want to provide the best underwriting product, the best claims assessing product, the best onboarding product, and help insurers to use AI at scale. Yeah, so I would love to talk more about so what is a platform and so on. But the platform is, you can imagine this as any other SaaS product. You can sign up, you will have access to the modules, subscribe to them. If it needs customizations, you would involve us in customizing it. So the deployment is also much quicker now. We are continuously working to make it largely automated on the deployment side as well. As I said, so we want to make the journey as quick and as smooth so that we can have more people using AI today. And from use cases other than underwriting and claims, we have done audit automation, for example. Like, can we train an AI to become an auditor such that my transactions are properly aligned with the regulations, compliance, and so on. So those are the other areas where you can use AI in insurance as well. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I'm happy to talk about more and more, but yeah, I'll stop here. As I said, so AI is more a need now. It's not a fab anymore. It was actually a fab in 2015 to 2019, meaning having AI is actually a very cool thing. Now it's a basic fundamental requirement. So we see that as a mainstream technology, more and more, not just us as millennials or metropolitan guys, even tier 4, tier 3 guys also, they expect smartness. Simple forms is not good enough. Simple application process is not good enough. They are aware about some of this product. So we hope because of the pandemic, they are getting more and more aware about all of this. This can help the industry a lot as we go forward. Okay. Thank you everyone for giving this opportunity. Would love to answer if there is any questions.
Thank you,
Mr. Vinay, for sharing your experience. And also explaining the process how AI and deep learning can help the insurance industry has been automating the various applications.
Probably you are using devices. Echo coming.
Hello. Yeah. Sorry. So there is a question. What I read is we know about artificial intelligence, okay, and mainly the machine learning and deep learning. But we have been hearing that the next wave of AI is cognitive intelligence, where you also briefly explained that you train the system through the historical data and also allow the system to interact with the environment and which is dynamic in nature. So can you please elaborate what do you think in the next 5 years? How do you think that the cognitive intelligence will emerge as core applications in the industry like insurance?
Sure, definitely. I think the process of feedback is very important element in insurance, right? As in the feedback defines what is the growing profitability of the business. If the feedback is not considered in your processes, particularly in underwriting claims, you could see there is no change in your book profitability or even increasing losses. I'll give a simple example, right? Let's say your current loss ratios are 85%. Your loss ratios is nothing but an outcome of your underwriting book, right? The quality of underwriting. If your underwriting quality is very good, your loss ratios can be seen to decrease. This feedback has to go to systems like that. So this is where cognitive AI can help, right? Or self-learning systems or autonomous AI systems. AI should always consider the feedback and optimize from time to time. I may have the best expert to begin with. If the expert is not learning, he's as good as any other guy, right? So that's what we have to do now. I think we have heard from insurers that some people are building some complex models, but if they cannot continue to use it for next 6 months, 9 months, right? So after 3 months, your efficiency will start dropping. Most of the times after first month itself, your efficiency of model will come down until unless you retrain the system or you consider the feedback and optimize the system. So that's the area where cognitive systems and deep learning systems can help. They can take in the environment feedback and optimize on its own, or maybe through interventions, such that it keeps on learning and keeps on learning and keeps on learning. Which means that you not only like let's say an ideal in any let's say after 50 years down the line, right? You would have an AI to do complete underwriting. It may start with 85% in the year 1. In year 2, the loss ratios will come to 70% because it is considering the feedback. Hence, you can see that trend happening. So that's what cognitive systems can deliver. And that's the kind of architectures everybody needs to build for any kind of expert function. Expert function like underwriting, claims, audit, fraud detection. Fraud detection is a very classic area where fraudsters are always much smarter than the systems. Hence, you see the increasing fraud. So you need such kind of cognitive systems to correct this and adapt such that your system stays relevant, unlike becoming a stagnant and then it becomes unusable after some point of time.
Okay, yeah. So great. So thanks for knowing that. Okay. So the next question is, what kind of innovative the solutions that you foresee the insurance industry will benefit, through the cognitive intelligence?
Yeah, I think some of the use cases I have already touched upon, like underwriting claims are the classic ones. Like everybody, that's a bare minimum thing that anybody can do. And if the users are smarter, they're thinking on how I can use cognitive AI to make my customer acquisition more faster or more personalized. Like, for example, we have done a quick survey on from the customer standpoint. So we have asked a question like how well do they think the products are personalized? I think more than 60% people said that the products are not as per their expectation, meaning they're getting recommendations of a product which is not important to them. right? As simple as product recommendation is areas where we would see a huge impact of using cognitive AI. Like for example, so it's like a game theory, right? For product recommendation, you are playing a game with the customer. You don't know what is the expectations of the customer when you start, or you may project that this is what the customer may need, but you have to correct it as when you are talking to the customer. So that's what a good agent will do. A good agent start with a product A, and as when he's talking to that customer, he'll go from product A to product C, product D, because he's interacting with the customer and he can rethink his strategy. AI should also have a similar approach. It should rethink the strategy the moment when it is interacting with the customer. So we will see such kind of systems being productionized very soon. We know that some people are working on it. They already are realized in other areas like in Amazon or e-commerce or Netflix, right? Your interface versus another guy interface is not the same. So it always changes from time to time. So you need the same thing even in product recommendation future. Product recommendation, retention prediction. So these are the areas where we would see a nuanced use cases or a smarter way of deploying AI, because those are not straightforward problem statements. You can use ML and use a straightforward approach. This is one. Second is the customer acquisition. As I said, can I collect data differently? Can I collect medical data differently? So instead of asking, let's say, instead of collecting all this information, can I take a selfie of the customer to predict BMI? So these are the new things that we are seeing happening now, as in using AI to create new, as you can call it as steps, such that instead of having a typical, rigid process, you'll have more smarter, very different kind of process. Like it's not far away that I can expect a policy getting issued by taking a selfie and answering 3 questions. I think this is very much a reality. If the insurers can do that, they can see a huge amount of conversions happening by that. AI can help to make it happen. I can take a selfie and understand a lot of things. I can also understand what is this smoker non-smoker status as well. So the AI can be used as such kind of tools to derive new process of policy issuance, new process of claim settlement, and so on. So these are the new areas that we see that very smart way of using AI. But very traditional way of using AI is let's use it in underwriting and claims, which is immediate and which should be a basic fundamental 101 approach.
Okay. Yeah. So the another question is, basically what we find is, AI being used in your current system, okay, yeah, and with the existing data, right? And also you talked about the cognitive intelligence. So what it can do is it can really take into account the futuristic scenarios or whatever the current changes that are taking place in the environment or with the customers. And looking at the current data set, it can provide the optimum solution, right? You talked about it. Now, now can it also collaborate with another technology? I mean, for instance, blockchain technology is another technology which is, the insurance industry is now adopting. What I find that insurer requires multiple the data sources. If even for a claim, you require a data from let's say RTO offices. If there is a motor accident claim, or you require information from the police. You require the claim being reported from either the customers or his relatives. And also if the customer is in the hospital, you require the data from the hospital. So for a system to act on the decision immediately on a complex claims, you require the data flowing from the multiple sources. Now, this is where I foresee like AI can collaborate with another technology, let's say blockchain. So if the entities are on blockchain platform, so wherein the data flow from one system to another system will happen, automatically or smoothly. So how do you foresee this? Are there companies working in this area wherein the AI can plug in with blockchain technology?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's not far away to realize that or to make it happen, right? I think the first step for that to happen is to have some kind of centralized ID or access to data upon request. For example, EHR, right? It's a very simple concept, but it's not yet adapted in India, right? If you look at US, the medical data collection is actually not a big challenge because based on the customer consent, I can actually get the data from wherever the customer has visited in his past hospitalization, right? I can get it as one record, and that is more than enough information for me to decide whether I want to issue a policy or should I to do the claim or not, and so on and so, right? I think that's actually step one. We are already seeing that happening, right? I think currently in India we have National Health ID. I think NHI.
Yeah, correct.
Yes. They are already working with a few providers like pharmacy. I think Practo is already there. There is Fortis is there. I think there are a couple of other hospitals and a couple of providers who are in pilot program. So once the data collection problem is done, either through that or through blockchain or through some other kind of approach, the next is processing it, right? I could actually have a localized processing systems also. Like, for example, one of the questions that we see is what happens when the network is not there? Why do I need a network if I can actually deploy the same AI in your mobile, right? When you download an insurance application, what I can do is I can actually onboard my AI model into your mobile app such that even without even talking to insurer, you could actually have your claim settled, right? I still need to send the information that your claim is approved and send that information to financial transactions, but you can have it. So this is what the edge computing comes into play, right? Imagine this, like, for example, I'm at one place where I don't have a network and my car accident has happened. I don't have enough money in my pocket, but I have insurance, right? So I should probably take a picture then and there and get my claim processed. I can use that cash to either give it to my garage guy or to use it for some other purposes. I can realize my benefit without the caveats of other things by using edge. And then you have Federated Intelligence. So Federated Intelligence is like blockchain. You can actually have multiple AI distributed across multiple nodes, and these nodes can talk to one another while making the transaction happening. So there is a lot of innovation happening on distributed computing, distributed intelligence, and distributed decentralized data collection. So decentralization as a concept is really fantastic, but it requires a lot of correlation and communication in the ecosystem. Like, somebody has to always take up the mantle, and somebody else will have to decide on how it can happen. As when we see that happening, we see a humongous amount of changes in this ecosystem. I think these are the changes that I said will take maybe next 5 years, 10 years, but we will get there. I think this is what is going to happen in next few years.
Okay, so
can I just ask?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Please. Yeah.
Yes.
Vinay, in terms of data, especially in health insurance, life insurance, a lot of personal data coming into, the insurers as well as people like you. So how do you give confidence to the people that there is privacy? And because one thing we really see is there is really a fear of sharing the personal data at this point of time. How do we take care of that industry?
Okay. The very simple approach is we do deployments on premise, right? Meaning no data is going beyond your network. That's one. Second, in all transactions, we don't need PII information, meaning the customer can be X. All I need is what policy the customer has subscribed and what is the claim amount and so on. So I actually don't need the customer for some use cases. For some use cases, I don't need to understand who the customer is. For example, if I want to do fraud detection, I want to understand what the customer is, because to categorize him whether this is a good guy or a bad guy. Depending on the use case and depending upon how much data is required, we do on-premise and we do masked information. And other than that, we also follow a lot of security guidelines. Like, we are already ISO certified. When we are going to US, we wanted to be SOC certified as well and HIPAA compliant, so that all the data, everything remains there, and you can use it for only transactions and so on. So data is very, very serious problem. And we would also want to support the similar to GDPR in India as well. Like, if I am a customer, I would want my my providers to remove my data on my call, right? I may not do it, but I like to have that control with me. I think we believe that should happen very, very soon. Then we see a lot of affinity also. Then I can share my data if required. I can get that trust. Yeah, so we support those activities to ensure that the data is private. It's within the network, or it's compliant with as per the regulations in that geography.
Right. So just one more supplementary question to this. In the health insurance space, we're talking about claims settlement. There are multiple stakeholders like hospitals, then third-party administrators, and then insurers, and then they're all at different levels of using technology. Their data forms are all different. So what do you really visualize? Because this is a big pain point for the customers. Because each one is using its own systems. So how do you see this evolving, and how can AI really help the whole industry for the customer to get a wholesome service? I mean, regardless of who is the hospital, who is the TPA, and all that.
Yeah, I think for this, all the individual nodes, right? Like as you said, insurer is one node, TPA is another node, and then hospital is another node. These are the three important nodes. Your pharmacy and you would have a multiple other peripheral nodes which are not that major per se, right? Like pre-hospitalization and post-hospitalization, you will not have any control on how the expenses are being calculated nor billed. We are seeing changes at the TPA level right now. Like when we talk to certain TPAs, they are now using a little bit smarter systems. Instead of pre-authorization forms, they are asking the hospital to log in the system and register the claim from there on. Hospitals are also now, I think they have become really smart. As in pre-COVID, they were very slow in adapting to this technology. Now many hospitals are in the journey of fully digitizing the flows, sending the claim information as an Excel file or a transactional file, and so on. But this is a long-term play, as in it will take another 5 years before we see 70% adoption. I think next 2 years we may see 30% adoption, right? So the adoption is 30, 70, and 90 and 100, like that. But other than that, AI can also help intermediary. For example, you could actually have an AI today which can extract data irrespective of the document format. As in, let's say your pre-authorization form for insurer A is one format, right? For insurer B, the format is different. Bill from hospital A is one format. Hospital C is different format. So even though there is format changes in the document, there is AI that is matured to extract data from all these documents. It may do it with a 70% accuracy, 70% efficiency, meaning 70% automation, maybe 70-60 like that. But it's there. It can help you intermediately. But the long-term play is definitely upgrading all the nodes so that eventually the customer will also get the benefit. While that is happening, people can use AI in the intermediate stage to get there by able to digitize data and reduce the time spent on digitizing the information before even processing it.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Das, please go.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Mr. Vinay, just one more question. I mean, it's interesting to see nowadays, government is using the computer vision in a very big way. To monitor the traffic signals, the road conditions, and even the latest cars, including the autonomous cars. They're coming out with the sensors fitted, and I foresee the applications of computer vision in a big way. And how do you see that AI, being clubbed with the computer vision data, and so what kind of intelligence, it can generate for the people? It can generate intelligence for monitoring the conditions or patient's conditions, or any risk which is happening in the open place and any environment. So I just would like to have your views relating to this.
Yeah. So of all the use cases of AI, computer vision is the most evolved and most matured use case in AI, because the key reason is the publicly available training datasets. Since 2012, when deep learning came out into picture, right, there is enough training data for the system to learn all these aspects of computer vision. It could be object segmentation, or some kind of face matching or something like that, and so on. So, or even radiology, for example. Radiology is one of the classic use cases for deep learning, right? It can predict as good as a radiologist today. If your use cases is around computer vision today, most probably that's a solvable problem with a very easy investment, right? So I'll give you an example. We have created a face to BMI API. So the problem was we were trying to ideate on how else we can make the medical data collection more simpler, or what are the other alternate ways we can interact with the customer, either through new policy issuance or even renewal, right? If I want to renew it, if I know that the customer is in better health, I can actually give him a policy with a high discount. Imagine this, right? If an insurer tells me if I take a selfie, I'll get 5% discount in my renewal. That's a fantastic thing, because I need not to do anything. I just have to take a selfie and give it to the insurer. They can read my my bio data, right? They can read my BMI using computer vision. They can read whether if I'm smoking or non-smoking. They would have the same my face picture at the initial policy time. So they can actually compare how well I have progressed during that 1 year, and then say, okay, this guy is going with a good health trajectory, so I can give him 5%, maybe 10% discount on the renewal. So this is what we launched as an API. So you can sign up in api.arya.ai and you can start using it by just subscribing it. So even such a complex thing, which would have been really, would have needed a lot of time and investment and everything, there is enough open source models out there. Training data may be a problem. That's where you may have to spend time and get the training data, label it such that for these use cases you have covered properly. Once you have the training data and the computer vision problems, you can solve it using AI. Well, this is one example. The other examples where we have seen very large scale is in home insurance, for example. I'm giving home insurance as an example because it's a retail problem and it's a mass related problem again, right? You could actually have your entire claim settlement process over satellite imagery, right? There is enough satellite image available today. You can get to a pixel of 1 pixel to 20 feet kind of ratio data freely. You have NASA satellite and then you have ISRO satellites also, which can provide you all this free data. So I can use computer vision. I know what your home coordinates are. If you tell me that your home roof has damaged, I can look at it by looking at the satellite data and then process your claim very quickly. So you can actually take this computer vision examples more and more complex. All of them are solved problems today because computer vision is very much a solved problem. If you have data and you have smart people, so you can start using those use cases very easily.
That's just yeah. You know, see, in India we have these natural catastrophes.
Yeah,
a lot of damages happen. And then insurers always find it difficult to depute surveyors and do a physical assessment.
Yes.
So can this help us in really, the satellite imagery help us in assessments, even risk inspections, understanding how the risk is?
Yeah, definitely. In fact, in 2016-17, we worked with a reinsurer on the exact same problem. This is for, in fact, we have done this for Europe market because agriculture was one of their big business. So whenever there is a claim from an agriculture property or asset, they have to send people there to assess what is the damage, extent of damage, and they have to predict the yield of the crop, right? To assess what is the damage amount that they have to settle with. So all of this is like a 5-6 experts involved in the transaction. So what we have done is we have collected the geo data, as in what is the moisture, what is the soil details, and so on. So during the entire crop period, we had that information for about 4-5 years, and we know the crop details, as in okay, this was the vegetation and this was the details at the end of the 6 months. Let's say 6 months is the crop cycle. The yield was this much. The yield was this much. The yield was this much. So we trained the system to predict what is the yield, and we trained the system to predict what is the damage using satellite imagery data. So we had satellite imagery data. If a farmer says my crop is at some XYZ latitude and longitude, if there is a crop, if there is a damage because of fire, floods, or any kind of damage, we can pick up the data and predict what is the yield would have been there, thereby calculating the amounts for that settlement. So this is one use case which you could actually start utilizing now. At that time, we didn't scale that use case because it was too early for the market at the moment. At that point of time. Now, I think Indian agriculture market is very matured. We have more catastrophic losses also. I think this can help to scale such kind of problems.
Sure.
Yeah, it's interesting to know that. Yeah, some of these startups, there are specialized startups who are working in the agriculture related,
Yes.
The claims management and also the yield productivity solutions and all that area. So one more, just an interesting area, which I understand, and most of the developed markets, they are using it, the virtual reality and augmented reality.
Yeah.
So the virtual reality and augmented reality connected with the AI can again, provide like a real life risk assessment solution, like what our director was telling, that if there is a earthquake, many times, people, it's difficult for them to reach to the spot, or even if any survivors are there, so difficult for them to identify the survivors. So I was told that now the drones, with the help of the drones fitted with the virtual augmented reality, can really help in that. And are you aware of such cases, which can be implementable with the AI solutions?
Yeah, it can be. I would be surprised if any insurers is using it yet. We have these use cases are very prominent in commercial insurance, right? Let's say I have a big manufacturing unit.
Yes.
And I've insured that manufacturing unit for 1,000 crores, for example. And for some reason, there's a chemical explosion or something of that sort, right? Now I want my claim to be processed. How can we give that information to the insurer? So what I can do is I can create an AR model. I can create my manufacturing unit if everything would have been intact. Now map that with the damaged image, right? You could actually see how much of the damage has been happened and so on. So you can visualize it, all of it, using the AR as the tool. It is happening in other use cases, as in we have seen that happening in education, for example. There are a few startups who have AR related educational content. As in, let's say I'm learning something about trolleys and pulleys, right? You could have an AR model where you can see the trolley and pulley in your live environment and then interact with it. The use case is very, very interesting, but I would be surprised if insurers are using it today. I think it may be too sci-fi for them. There's definitely an impact for sure, but I think it'll get there. It'll get there for sure.
Yeah, sure. So thank you, Mr. Vinay. And we have few questions from the audience. Okay.
Sure.
And so one of the question is, they want to know that how is it the cognitive intelligence is different from the analytical solutions that are provided by AI?
Okay. So okay. So let's take an analytics approach, right, and AI approach. Okay. Let's pick up some problem. For example, risk scoring. I want to do some kind of risk scoring for some asset. Asset is either a human or a property or a car. It could be any kind of asset, right? So what analytics will tell me is 30% of such assets will have a risk of something, some XY percentage. So analytics will give you an insights. You need to convert that insights into rules or some kind of scoring model.
Yeah.
This is what the older credit scoring model was. It used to say, age between 25 to 30 with an income of 20 lakhs, 30% guys will default. So I'll convert that 30% guys into, if I'm age of 25, they'll give me a minus 30, for example, or plus 700. It can be positive direction or negative direction. So you will build the rules basis on the analytics observations. So analytics is nothing but you're trying to derive some observations, right? This is your scoring model approach. Whereas for an AI, I want to build the same scoring model. So for it, what I'll do is I'll give my asset information and I'll give my claim information, for example. So now we are asking the system to figure out how to derive a score. right? We are not doing all the steps by ourselves.
Oh, okay. So you are not
systems,
defining it. You are not defining it as you do it in the analytical solution. Okay.
Exactly. So in AI or a good AI, when I always say AI and a good AI, like sometimes even analytic solution is also called as an AI solution today. So for a good AI product, it will figure out how to score an asset. It may not be based on only these 4-5 factors, right? There could be a 4 million factors to figure that out. So that's what AI can do better. It can figure out what is the right score for certain asset.
Okay. Okay. So interesting to know that. Okay. I have another, I mean, just a statistical questions. Actuaries use GLM model, mostly the generalized linear model, mostly to derive the risk relativity to work out a risk-based pricing. So generally, now in India, we have not implemented risk-based pricing, but many of the developed markets, they have introduced.
Yep.
And where they have used this kind of techniques called GLM. And I see there are a lot of similarities between neural network and GLM approach.
Yes.
Okay, and I have read recently one paper where they combine both neural network and GLM. So, and it has given a very, very interesting the results. Like risk relativities would be an the input for a pricing mechanism. Okay, and that can be validated with a cognitive intelligence which can interact with any kind of current environment solutions. So I have my risk relativity or risk weights or a risk score derived from historical data, and how that score can be changed or how I can visualize the score with reference to the changing data set. Okay, or the current solutions.
So actually, there is one intermediary, in the Indian market who uses GLM models for pricing motor premium rates.
Yes.
Yeah, but the challenge, I think, probably, the regulatory restrictions on how much price you can charge. Some of the products you have the file and use. Yes, Mr. Vinay, you just go ahead.
Yeah.
Sure. I think there is always an interesting outcome when you combine multiple approaches, right? Okay. And some of them can actually benefit very much so. Some of them, most of them may not be, but some of them actually helps you a lot. I'll give an example, right? So let's say I want to build an AI, but I only have 5,000 data sets with me, 5,000 data points with me, which is not enough for an AI to learn from it. It also depends upon the product problem and everything. 5,000 samples may be good enough for some problem, but it's not good enough for some other problem. But I still want to use AI because that may come up with some kind of pattern, right? You can actually marry the AI outcome with some of these approaches like this, a good statistical model, which works very well on data. That can be the base or a reference point for an AI when it is recommending something. So this is what we you could start imagining a lot of new ways of combining things, which can help you in areas where you may not use AI or you may have too many errors. Then you can start looking at them. In fact, we have not discussed about, for example, the bias problem, right? In any transactional systems, there is always a bias.
Yes.
I would give a loan very quickly to a guy who is young and coming from a metropolitan, whereas with same guy, same qualifications who lives in, let's say, tier 4, I may not give a loan. So the bias is there. So how are we handling it? And how can we ensure that that is not repeated by the AI systems, right? As you go deeper, the problems are very, 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 very unique, and hence one guy cannot be an expert on everything. So that's one of the reasons why we are good at deep learning and we stick to deep learning. Like there are multiple approaches because we know there are a lot of problems that is yet to be solved. Forget about solving the industry. This is a very, very new industry. We are figuring out how to use this new technology in our current process. So we may have to make some modifications and then figure out the best way of using it.
Okay, great.
So there is one interesting question from the from the participants. So commercial property insurance, the values are hundreds of crores, thousands of crores. So the question is, how confident are the insurers of using AI because of the the impact it has on underwriting and loss potential?
Sure. I think for a very high value and high what you say as important as, for example, medical, right? Uh, the idea of AI is to not to replace the expert, but to help the expert in the right direction. For example, I'm maybe the best underwriter for such products, right? I'm as good as what I find from the data. Let's say if some line item I didn't find and hence I approved, that may result in bad book and bad returns, right? So that's one of the reasons why none of the financial institutions make 100% accurate decisions all the time. Irrespective of how old, how good the team is, there is a chance of miss out, right? So AI can help you to mitigate that. So unlike humans, it doesn't age. It works really well at even 9 o'clock in the night, at the end of the month, at the beginning of the month, at the end of the financial year, which a human would have a lot of external factors, which leads to some kind of slippages. So in use cases like this, we always propose AI as an assistant, not a replacer. We help the decision maker to make the decision by giving him all the right things. The AI can recommend, and he's still the guy who is an executioner, like even a doctor, right? So a doctor may always see that So yeah, the AI should help him to identify all the symptoms are captured and then give him a best pattern of diagnosis. Maybe the doctor may not remember because doctor is also getting old. He may be stick to the older diagnosis. The new guy is not experienced enough to figure out new diagnosis. So AI will become like that. It manages the experience and the aggressiveness of being young and smart.
Okay. Yeah. So thank you very much, Mr. Vinay, for really, making us easy to understand. I mean, these are a complex area which is highly technical, but you made it very simple to understand and with the used cases and also with your own experiences, how you are really dealing with them. Thank you very much, and I really wish your company and you a great success in the coming year. And we are very happy to have you. And sir, director, sir, over to you, sir.
No, I must thank Vinay for, I've been in the industry for such a long time, so it's fascinating to learn these new developments. Of course, it's going to take some time for the industry to give up their, traditional methods and absorb AI. I'm sure that it's happening and it's going to happen pretty fast. I'm sure that, people like Vinay will have a very important role in shaping the future of the insurance industry, not only in India, but also across the world. Thank you very much. Wish you all the best.
Thank you, Srinivasan. Thank you, Dr. Das. Thanks for giving me the opportunity. I hope I was able to add some value because of this conversation. Thank you, guys. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So thank you, friends. So with this, we close the webinar, and thank you all for participating. Yeah. See you.
Have a good day, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, good day. Thank you.
मी इथं जाण्यासाठी दिले होते. प्रश्न सर नाही ते हेल्प बघितलं ना तू इथे काहीच दाखवत नाही. तो रिसिव्हिंग सगळं ब्लँक दाखवत होता.
कारण इथने एंड युजरला तर चांगलं व्यवस्थित बघा.
काही डेटा दाखवत नाही.
हा खरंच. पण आता जे शेअरिंग होतं तर कसं होत होतं? तुम्ही ह्याच्याच थ्रू केलंय ना? मग एंड युजरला कसं काय व्यवस्थित व्ह्यू होतो सर?
तेच विशेष आहे ना. ते एक बरं आहे निदान
ते तर चांगलं झालं ना. जे युजर होते त्या बघायला त्यांना तर व्यवस्थित भेटलंय. फक्त काही सेकंड तिथं थोडासा फरक होता. हा जर ह्याच्या थ्रू असतं तर कठीणच झालं असतं.
एक तर आता आपण आपल्या ट्रॅम्प मध्ये असतो. हा बाबा पासवर्ड विसरतो नेहमीप्रमाणे.
पासवर्डच विसर. डोमेनचा पण विसरलोय.
हो नाही